Hello and welcome to the Sheff United Way. My name is Hal and thanks for being a part of this today where we're going to talk about Seol Young-woo. Let's chat about the South Korean defender Seol Young-woo, a player that has apparently been on the Blades radar for quite some time. And as a result, you've heard me in previous videos talk about him. It also meant that I had my notes ready to go. The 26-year-old, 6 foot, some sites saying 5'11", but it's much of a muchness at 26 caps for his country. Born in Ulsan, Seol played as a youth player for the hometown team there, Ulsan Hyundai, but they've been renamed Ulsan HD. That was in 2024. Now, he contributed to his home teams 2 K-League 1 titles, the highest level, in 2022 and 2023. On the 1st of October 2024, he was actually nominated for the AFC Player of the Year. That was a big year for him. He helped his club and his national team do extremely well. The club getting to the semi-finals of the AFC Champions League and his national team getting to the semi-finals of the AFC Asian Cup. Now, he's been capped throughout the youth ranks for his national side and, as I mentioned, also has 26 full caps. In total, for Ulsan, he made 156 appearances, scoring 8 goals and getting a rather healthy 14 assists. Now, when we talk about a right back getting forward and getting assists, that can sometimes sound pretty exciting. Now, obviously, 14 assists in 156 games doesn't tell you he's going to be like 𝗣𝗿𝗲𝗵𝗵 on his debut against Sunderland at Bramall Lane, but it does tell you that this is someone that can get forward. Now, I've had a look at quite a bit of the attribute side of things for Seol, and he does seem like someone that can do the defensive and the offensive, to use a term that I don't love so much, very much an American term. But we're going to get to those because on the 29th of June 2024, Seol moved to Europe with the Serbian Super Club. And that's not because, I think they're a super club. They play in the Superliga, so, it kind of makes sense to call them that. 𝗏 Belgrade for an undisclosed fee. I really have no idea. I've tried to find different websites that say what that was. It was a 3-year contract, but with an option for a 1-year extension, and it's been very successful. 47 appearances, 6 goals, 10 assists. So those assists creeping up in the amount of games. He is getting more and more useful in an attacking sense. And in his career, in 212 games, he's received just 21 yellow cards. Another disciplined player. He's only been sent off once, and that was in a Champions League qualifier for 𝗏 Belgrade. So again, we're seeing discipline, the ability to get forward, and we're going to get to the defensive attributes very soon, but also experience. Now, party piece I used to do was to name in squad number order the entire 2002-2003 South Korean World Cup squad. I wasn't invited to many parties. Now, he is known for his versatility, his strong work ethic, his ability to contribute, as I've mentioned, defensively and in the attacking third. He likes to get forward. In fact, Seol had previously played as a winger, and now it all starts to make sense. That was until his university days, so he's educated as well, but changed his role to a fullback at the start of his professional career. Now, when I say fullback, you're thinking, well, which side does he play on? You've given us very little information. He can play on both sides. He can operate on the left, although he is right-footed, and he is primarily a right back. But I've actually broken down the numbers because he's played as a right back 89 times in his professional career, with 6 goals and 12 assists, and a left back 75 times, 7 goals and 10 assists. It's much of a muchness. This guy can play on both sides. Now, he is, I'm sure, going to be a right back, but defensively, Seol is known for his strong tackling, and I told you we'd get to the defensive side of things, his ability to make interceptions. So far in his career, one thing that has been constantly demonstrated, and everyone I've spoken to about him and everything I've read has said the same thing. High work rate. He covers significant ground during matches. There is actually a stat that you can find quite easily online. In a match for his national team in 2023 against Australia, he covered a remarkable 15.54 kilometres. Now, I looked at his 2024 K-League stats, where he played 719 minutes, 413 successful passes, 88.6% pass accuracy, 25 accurate long balls with 52.1% of those long balls, of all that he attempted, actually finding their target, created 7 chances, won 63.6% of his tackles, won 58% of the duels that he went in for, and the aerial duels only won 42.9% of those. We'll get back to the aerial side of his game. Now let's look more recently. Seol Young-woo's 2024-25 Red Star Belgrade League stats. So from 30 appearances, averaging 84 minutes per game, 6 goals, 5 assists, 74.8 touches per game, 9 big chances created, 1.5 key passes per game, and 0.7 successful dribbles per game. If you're a stats person, hopefully this is all very helpful for giving you a picture of the player. Joel Kim is a Twitter user listed as the #1 source for all things related to Korean national team players, prospects, and transfer news. Wrote in April of 2025, Seol Young-woo bags his 9th assist and 15th goal/assist. So, helping to contribute to goals for the team. Now, for Red Star, in the league this season, it's just 2 games. Season's only just started, but he's already got 2 assists. Again, getting better and better at those assists as he's got older. Clearly, that's just something that the data shows. Now, the Blade sent a scout to watch him against Lech Poznan, of course, famous for the Poznan turning backwards and the Poznan clap. And anyway, social media scouting wizard and friend of the channel, Riley Roberts, watched the match, so you didn't have to, and said this about Young-woo. Thought he was decent and pretty good without being spectacular. Thought as an attacking fullback, an away game in Europe, pretty tough, but he was very quick, decent on the ball, good defensively 1v1, had some sloppy passes and wandered out of position a little bit. Definitely, though, a decent player in there. Now, if you consider that Riley is sort of the Sheffield United scouting Eeyore, you've got to be quite spectacular to be described as decent. Ronaldinho away at Stamford Bridge would have scored a decent goal. Now, the Serbian outlet, this is a great name, Mozart Sport, described Seol recently as irreplaceable, saying the football rule for decades is that almost every player is for sale for the right price, whether the club is called Red Star, Manchester United, or Spartak. But there is also moments when someone is simply irreplaceable. Young-woo Seol is one of those. For this Red Star team, a player whose performance is sometimes not visible to the naked eye, but who, like a soldier on guard, defends the right side of the field firmly. Just as in Poznan, for example, when the Korean, as the only native in the defensive quartet, was one of the pillars of the solid Red Star defence. That's why Red Star hopes that no one will send an offer for him by the end of the summer transfer window. They hope at Maracana that they will somehow manage to hide the Korean, who has a buyout clause in his contract of 5.5 million euros. If someone sends a cheque for that amount, Red Star will have its hands tied. And everything will depend only on the will of the Korean national team player, whether he wants to go or not. Again, some of that probably lost in translation, but I think we get the drift. A lot of Red Star fans that I've been able to translate the thoughts of really like this guy, and they don't want him to leave. Now, he's not had many injuries yet in his career, and I'm literally touching wood as I say that. Just one annoying shoulder injury, which kept him out for 89 days. He missed 17 matches. Solfax. He wants to wear, and always has wanted to wear, the 66 shirt. He's won the Serbian League title. He's won the Serbian Cup. He's won the Korean League title 3 times. He's won the Asian Champions League. He's played 10 times in the UEFA Champions League. And he has 26 caps for South Korea. Woof. An upgrade in terms of experience on 𝗤𝗄𝗄𝗃, a player that, unfortunately, Seol, it's not his fault, he never played in it, doesn't know the championship at all. It may take time for him to get used to it. It's a very different style. It's also a new lifestyle. He may, therefore, not hit the ground running. But he is match fit, so literally he could hit the ground running. He's been playing games in a season which started earlier than the championship, and of course he's had those European qualification matches. He's not as good in the air as I'd like from what I've seen. I've watched a lot of videotape for the kids, just an old school term, and mixed success from crosses. When I say I've watched videos, I've watched YouTube, obviously. Certainly, when looking at his crossing accuracy percentage from his final season in Korea, that was just 40%. But one thing that does stand out, the mental and physical side of his game, his pace, Riley mentioned that, his strength, his stamina, his agility. He's bizarrely got really good balance as well, which is something that it looks like he's hard to knock off the ball. He makes good decisions. He's very, very brave, clearly very brave. You can see a lot of examples of that. Has excellent vision, excellent work rate, good positional sense, but I would say that is not always the case when it comes to marking. It's left a little bit to be desired, just from some of the stuff I've seen, and that might prove to be untrue. But his first touch and overall passing, that's again been a bit mixed. You see some of the stats with the long ball passing, not as good as the short form. But, very hard to tell. I'm going off limited footage. Some of the stuff I've been able to see hasn't painted a full picture, because on one clip you see him do something a little bit sloppy and drift out of position, and another clip you see him absolutely the right place at the right time. So I think it might be more of a wait and see. Could be a pleasant surprise, could take time to adjust. But I think the thing that we all know with Seol Young-woo is that there's definitely a player there, and that we need reinforcements. We need defensive reinforcements. We need another right back. Think about how many right backs we had last season in the totality of the season. You had 𝗤𝗵𝗴. Before he got injured, there was an option before he went out on loan of 𝗍𝗫. You had 𝗤𝗵𝗲𝗕 for a large part of the season, until suddenly, I don't know, maybe fell out with Wilder. He was just discarded. You had Clark and you had Hamza Chowdhury. So many options in that position. And this season, it feels like we've just got 𝗤𝗵𝗴. One thing I was a little concerned about when watching some of the highlights was that he looked very similar to 𝗤𝗵𝗴, just sort of bombing forward, and a former winger. When really, I think we probably need a bit more steel at the back. Maybe he'll offer that. Again, those defensive stats that I've read out, I'm not always a fan of stats. Eye test always for me. But some of them sound very encouraging. So if he can do both, and he can do both of them well, then there you go. That's exactly what Sheffield United need. A few more additions, of course. Let me know what you've made of the scouting report that I've just given you there. And as I've been asking for the last few weeks, where are Sheffield United still deficient? Where do we still need to recruit? As ever, up the blades. Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole. Ole.